This is your daily encouragement. I'm Dr. Kevin Agarth. We're down at Marriage Partners Studio. Why don't you take a look around with us? Hi guys, I'm Dr. Kevin Agarth and this is Marriage Partners Ministry. I had a coaching session recently with a man and he said that it was perfectly fine for me to talk about this on video as long as I didn't use his name, which of course I would never ever do. So he presented a problem to me. He says, I get very irritable with my spouse. I just feel ornery. I just feel like kind of quarreling with them. And I don't exactly know why. I mean, there's no real apparent reason for it, is what he was telling me. And so I said, well, to start off with, whether we have reasons or don't have reasons, I think what we really need to understand is that when we come home from work, if we're being irritable, if we're being annoying, if we're being quarrelsome, that is a terrible love unwinder. And love unwinders destroy romantic love. It destroys the feeling. So if I'm being irritable to you, I destroy your love and your heart toward me. And so I began to try to persuade him to understand that that's a love unwinder and it's best to stop doing that. And he says, but I don't exactly even know why. And then he says, well, but don't I have a right just once in a while, just to keep it real? You know, if I'm not feeling real good, if I'm feeling kind of ornery or a little don't I have a right once in a while just to be in a funk, just to kind of be in a bad mood? And I thought that was a very, very interesting way to frame it as a right. And we all have rights. We all have rights in life, but our rights come at a cost. And if we're doing love unwinders, and we think we have a right to do them, the cost is romantic love in our spouse's heart towards us. So we've got rights, but there's a cost to every single right. And so I dug in a little bit deeper, and I thought this might be very helpful for much of our viewing audience here. So I wanted to share it with everybody. As we begin to dig in a little bit deeper, I found out that he gave his wife the right to be irritable herself, to be ornery. She would say things to him that were, kind of rough around the edges, especially if she was really having a bad day. If she was very emotionally just out there. If she had a bad day, she would just kind of drop it out on everybody. Now, the big love unwinders, abuse, neglect, those kinds of things, people tend to know that that's a love unwinder. They tend to know that they shouldn't be doing that. But the more covert love unwinders, like irritability, just lack of friendliness, these are the ones that kill marriages the most because we don't even really know we're doing the damage that we're doing. Our workbook here helps go into identifying the love unwinders that you're doing, that the love unwinders that are in your marriage. They can help you to identify them, especially the more covert love unwinders. So he was letting his wife do these. He thought he was just being a good husband. He thought he was being, caring and accommodating, and he was letting his wife do these love unwinders to him for a very considerable period of time. His love for his wife died. It diminished. And that's why then all these background irritations would come, once in a while they'd come to the forefront of his thinking. And all of these irritations and all of these things would come forward, and with no apparent immediate reason, it would just come to his conscious mind, and he would be irritated towards her, and then he would let it out towards her. Very, very harmful, very, very destructive. But you got to see what was happening here is that the background annoyances were coming forward. One reason for all these background annoyances is he didn't know how to handle conflict. So some of us handle conflict in lots of different intuitive strategies. Some handle conflict by being aggressive or demanding. We call that a dictator strategy. Of course, that doesn't work. It works real well for the dictator short term, but long term, it destroys relationships. Another intuitive style of handling conflict is capitulation or sacrifice, and that does not work long term either. The person that's sacrificing always ends up with resentment. And so we've got a course here on marital negotiation that's revolutionized thousands of marriages because they learned how to handle conflict properly. So they take care of all those annoyances so they're not building up in the background, back here, all this clutter back here. They take care of all those things up in the forefront. They handle them in a healthy marital negotiation fashion. They learn the strategies of how to do that, and so those things never build up. That's point number one. Point number two with my particular coaching client is he says, well, I don't know, I think I do love my wife. You might be mistaking on this one, doctor. And I said, well, listen, nobody knows when they're falling out of love. It happens so gradual over such a long period of time. People generally don't know it. And they're so used to saying, love you, have a good day, love you. Okay, you're talking on the phone, bye, love you. You're so used to saying, love you, I love you, I love you, that you're programming yourself that you're in love. And so even if you drift out of love, you're so used to saying, love you, that you hardly realize what's happening. You see, now if you hate your spouse or greatly dislike them, the difference between that and love is so profound that you know if you've gotten that far down, right? But if you're just down in that friendship zone, you generally don't even know that you drifted down there. You generally don't even know it. And you know, that really made sense to my coaching client. And he says, well, how can I be sure? How can I be sure if I love her or don't love her? I said, well, first of all, if you don't love her, that's not the end of your marriage. It just is a kick in the pants to learn how to create romantic love. And then once you know how to create it, you'll know how to sustain it. So it's not a terribly negative thing if you've drifted out of love. The Home DVD Study course teaches you how to create emotional love. It'll teach you how to sustain that. And so he says, okay, I need to know. I need to know. Am I in love? Did I fall out of love? Are we in the friendship zone? Where are we at? Well, that's good news. I got a test. And this is where I'm going with this entire video. I gave him a test, and I want to give you, every one of you in the viewing audience, I want to give every one of you the test. It's a test. You just fill it out, and you will know if you are in love with your spouse. If you give it to your spouse and they fill it out, then you'll know if they're in love with you. It's called a love spiral check-in. We just put that name on the test. And it helps people to know exactly where they're at so that they don't fall off and they don't get into the ditch, so to speak. You know, this particular coaching client of mine, he was no longer in love. He was just in that friendship zone. And when you're in the friendship zone, cute little habits that you once saw as cute and kind of attractive about your spouse, you'll begin in the friendship zone to see them as annoyances. You'll begin to see them as kind of just pestering little annoyances. That's the big difference between if we have the emotion of love toward our spouse or not. Emotion of love, that romantic love, that feeling of an incredible attraction, is such a powerful motivator to remain in relationship and connected with our spouse. That's why we talk so much about being in love here at Marriage Partners Ministry. That really is the golden key. That really is the bullseye to hit. Couples that are happily married for a lifetime, they're all remaining in romantic love. That's the bullseye. That's the key. When you get married in the first place, you get married because you're in love. That's the reason why you got married in the first place. We're going to help you get back to that point if you've fallen out of love. And if you're in love right now and you're concerned and you want to know, how do I sustain this emotion that feels so good to me? How do I sustain that love? Our home DVD study course will teach you everything you need to know about that emotion, about how it's created, how it's destroyed, how to sustain it, so that you can be confident that you will remain in love in your marriage. I want to ask you to help me. Help me to save millions of marriages. Help me by sharing this video with others. And remember, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Hey guys, I wanted to come back on just real quick here because I want to tell you where you can get that test. I want to emphasize it's a free test. I want to give it to you absolutely 100% completely for free. And it will let you know if you are in love with your spouse, and if your spouse feels it out, if your spouse is in love with you. I want to get that in your hands, because if you sense that there might be a problem in your marriage, you take the test. If you find out that maybe you're not in love, you're just close to it, or you're in that friendship zone, I want to help you before it becomes a major problem. I want to partner with you so you can have an awesome marriage. And you can find the free test. Just go to marriagepartnersministry.com, send me an email, and I will send you the test absolutely for free. There's no hidden sales pitch. There's no nothing. I just want to give it to you for free. Thank you.